In recent, Taiwan is arming itself to beat a Chinese invasion. And some new weapons are better than others. The Taiwanese Defense Ministry is asking lawmakers for $17 billion for 2022. That record budget, accounting for 2.3% of the country's gross domestic product, and also would be a 5% boost over 2021 spending. The budget would pay for, among other things, including newer defense missiles for the Navy's 6 Kangding-class frigates, and also plus 4 MQ-9B armed drones for the Air Force, as well as a host of missiles for that service's growing fleet of new F-16V fighters. Most of the proposed expenditures, but not all, align with Taiwan's increasingly defensive war strategy. Taiwan, which has a population of 24 million, boasted more and better ships, planes and tanks than its much more populous enemy. And today, China with its 1.4 billion people has a quantitative and, increasingly, qualitative military advantage over Taiwan. So, Taipei increasingly is leaning on the natural advantage any defender has against an attacker. Unifying Taiwan with China is the central tenet of the Chinese Communist Party's foreign policy. However, Chinese troops have to go to Taiwan to get what Beijing wants. And Taiwanese troops don't have to move an inch. And they've had decades to dig in. It's not for no reason that missiles, plus sensors to guide them, and vehicles to launch them, lately have dominated Taipei's spending plans. Taiwanese officials in recent years have initiated large-scale purchases of new anti-ship, land attack and anti-air missiles. The Porcupine Spines. Many hundreds of them. A low-tech, unkillable mesh of targeting drones could help destroy a Chinese fleet invading Taiwan. The idea is to lob so many missiles at an incoming Chinese invasion force that the munitions overwhelm the invaders' defenses. The goal is to sink half of the potentially hundreds of large ships carrying Chinese troops toward Taiwan's ports and beaches. Not all missiles are created equal, however, and some of the investments the Taiwanese military wants to make in 2022 are more worthwhile than others. 4 United States-made MQ-9 drones make a lot of sense. The 2022 budget proposal hints that Taiwan might buy the armed variant of General Atomics' propeller-driven Sea Guardian drone, which in essence is a tougher, farther-flying version of the company's basic Reaper. But the Taiwanese Air Force doesn't need the $600 million Sea Guardian set, the 4 air vehicles plus ground control stations, for the handful of short-range Hellfire missiles the drones might haul into battle. It needs the drones to spot targets for the 400 Boeing-made Harpoon anti-ship missiles and 100 truck-mounted launchers that the Navy is buying for around $2.4 billion. And well as for the Harpoons, arming the roughly 200 new and upgraded F-16 versus the Air Force is acquiring from United States plane maker Lockheed Martin under an $8 billion deal. The 2022 budget also includes $360 million for additional weapons, potentially hundreds of them for the F-16V squadrons. and including anti-ship harpoons, plus standoff land attack missiles, expanded response, and radar-seeking high-speed anti-radiation missiles. The hundreds of American-made missiles comprise just a portion of Taiwan's growing arsenal of land attack and anti-ship cruise missiles. The Army, Navy and Air Force already are holding on to around 800 missiles in this class, and locally made models mostly. The truck-launched harpoons will grow the missile stockpile to 1,200, the bare minimum Taiwanese officials say they need in order to sink half of a Chinese invasion fleet and thwart an attack on the island. Additional missiles decrease the risk for Taiwanese forces and increase it for the Chinese. Upgrading 6 frigates for $1.5 billion, Taiwan's Navy easily defeated the Chinese Navy and stood a chance of defeating an invasion fleet far offshore. With the People's Liberation Army Navy's explosive growth in recent years, the Chinese fleet operates 170 corvettes, frigates, destroyers and cruisers. The Taiwanese fleet is just 28 such vessels. However, the new missile at best would delay the Taiwanese fleet's defeat. A possible war over Taiwan could be won or lost at the beachhead, as a Chinese invasion force fights its way through a swarm of air and surface-launched anti-ship missiles. And now, the United States' new drones help the Taiwan defenders' chances by improving the missiles' targeting.